Welcome to Fit Club Vegas, the ultimate fitness destination for visitors. Drop in for a day pass and experience our 10,000 square foot fitness playground. At Fit Club, you'll find state-of-the-art equipment and a sound system so good you'll ditch your headphones. Conveniently located 7 to 12 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, Fit Club is a perfect spot for you to come get your pump while visiting Sin City. So come check us out at 4525 West Hacienda, Las Vegas, Nevada. Fit Club Vegas, more than a gym, it's a vibe.
The dark horse has entered the building.
I like it.
Do you like being called a dark horse?
I'm okay with it right now, yeah. It's kind of fun. I like the dark horses don't have pressure on them, right? They just get to come in and do some damage, hopefully.
Well, it's not a special invitation. You earned your way.
I did.
And you are one of the controversial earners also because, you know, the elusive New York Pro title, you know, is we still consider that the third? What do we consider that?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it still considered the third?
Prestigious.
Yeah.
Because I look at the Arnold UK as still like another Arnold. Like,
okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
Same about the same. I would say so, too.
I mean, that's have to be on everyone's bucket list.
Yeah, I mean, I want that ring.
That was my first.
I still want that one, for sure.
It
was Night of Champions then, though.
I have the NOC ring. It's still sitting in the exact case it came in that they gave it to me, which I always show at my office. Yeah. So, Martin, welcome to Vegas. You came here early. You are probably the first arrival of anyone, I think.
Really?
For the open men, yeah.
I've been out here like 3-4 days.
So you were smart because you went out to Reno.
Yep.
Man, Brett looked good, huh?
Hell yeah, man.
I saw you screaming in the audience. They showed you.
It's crazy. I was telling Brett, I was like, dude, I get more nervous and more excited for you than I do when I go, because when you're in the moment, you're like trying to stay calm and like focus on like, I got to pose and be perfect. But like when I just got to be excited for him and like let that emotion be, I was like about to explode with excitement.
We just did a podcast that launched actually today.
This morning.
Yeah, we watched it this morning.
And I said, I said we need to do a petition that Brett Wilkins should be in the Mr. Olympia.
Bro, we literally texted about it this morning. I was like, how cool would that be if they really did that, bro? And he was like, I'm ready. And I was like, he's actually a little bit lighter. He was like, you know how it is. You carb up and you have to eat so much to carb up usually. So it's like, he's gone like 2 days of traveling and stuff. So he's like, my weight's down. I was like, you better eat up, boy. You never know what's going to happen. It's like, you keep training hard, but don't train too hard.
We talked about that is so close. And when someone looks that good and obviously he beat a guy that's
qualified.
That's qualified that our co-host here, Milos, said he's going to be top 10 possibly.
Yeah.
So where does that put Brett? Because I think was it as close as people say? It didn't look as close to me.
I mean, it kind of.
I know you're biased a little bit.
Yeah, of course. He's my best friend. We train every day, so I know like what went into it also. So there's definitely bias.
Yeah.
But
at least you admit it. Most people won't.
It depends on what you really love in bodybuilding, honestly. Bruno does have pretty good shape, but he's mostly he's a monster.
He's big. He's bigger frame than Brett.
He's probably 3 inches taller than Brett. He's a bigger statured guy.
Yeah.
He has a lot of muscle on him. And he's in pretty good condition. He wasn't as dry and as peaked as Brett, but he was close in conditioning. Brett is very, very detailed. We peaked him.
I know, but I think it's how you train, because we'll get into that a little bit, but you guys train crazy intense. Yeah. I mean, thank you so much for showcasing the video.
Yeah, of course.
Joe Real Muscle out there. And
anytime you want a video.
Big shout out. No, it was awesome. So, I was super excited because I have a relationship going back in history with both of you guys. I mean, there's a memorable moment where we met before you guys became the names, right?
Yeah.
And
before we even met each other.
So how is this now? You guys are in Florida. You guys were both at Armburst Gym at one point, where you guys were training partners then.
Yep.
And then there was like a transitional period, and now you're full circle back in the same gym? You train in Raw gym.
Yeah, we're in Raw and Revive.
Okay.
They're both right there, but we go back and forth between them.
Have you found a home now? I know it was like Texas, all these other places. Have you found your home? Not sure.
I was literally gonna say before we get into you, like, how did this start with Brett? And just talk about.
Yeah. No, man. So our relationship started like he came out to Armbrust, kind of the same reason anyone goes to visit there. You know, it's like Phil trained there. What a cool gym, a destination gym. Him and Ivana went out and visited, and Ivana was getting coached by the owner of the gym, Dylan Armbrust, at the time. And he's just a wonderful guy. So they came out, and Brett had just won his pro card and was kind of...
Win what division?
He was in glass.
Yeah.
That's
what I thought.
I think he started in men's physique.
No, he never did.
Stanimal.
Yeah, Stanimal. But no, he never did men's physique. He did junior nationals twice. He did it in 2017. He got second and didn't win his pro card. And then he won the overall in classic at the 2018 junior nationals. And the funniest thing is we didn't know each other. I watched him walk out in classic trunks, and I was in the light heavies, and I knew that their height for that class was the most he could weigh was 195. So I'm like, he's a light heavyweight bodybuilder. And he walks out, and I'm like, this dude is not classic. Like, if he just keeps putting muscle on his frame, he's a good bodybuilder. So then we meet in Denver. They moved out there, and I was going down on the weekends for posing classes. I'd just like hopefully run into Phil, just wanted to be around that environment because Wyoming has nobody. Jay knows, he's been out there. It's like, there's no bodybuilding. It's very minimal. So
there's a Jay Cutler classic for a while, and a Phil Heath classic.
Yeah, they both had them during my time. Now it's called like the Yellowstone or something, and they still
which is still great to have a show there because it's
100%. People from Colorado, Nebraska, everybody comes and they'll travel to the shows. But it's a very small community, and Colorado has a wonderful bodybuilding community. So I was traveling down on the weekends, and Brett was running posing class one day. And he was like, hey, man, you look awesome. Like, you want to train back with me today when we get done with posing class? It was like 10 in the morning. We can train after. And I was like, yeah, actually, like, I would love that. That's what I'm training today. And we trained one time together, and it was like a stepbrothers moment where it was like, did we just become best friends? Like, so I started coming down every weekend for like a year straight.
It's only like an hour drive, right?
It was about 2.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was going down every weekend for like a year straight. And finally, it was kind of like one of those things where it was like my girlfriend at the time had just graduated from school, so we could finally move away from Wyoming. And I was like, we're going to Denver. I'm going to train with Brett every day. And we did that for the last like 8 weeks of my prep going into winning my pro card in 2020. So the whole world is shut down, and Brett and I are still getting to kick each other's butt in armrests and train together. I won my pro card. He was on the way. He did his first 212 show in 2019, and I did my first like pro qualifier then, and I got second and he got like third in the 212, and they pretty much told him like, you've just reached your potential in this class, like we recommend that you just continue to go up. And I was like, let's both of us like push. I can get to 225 at least for the heavyweights. Let's push each other as hard as we can this year. And that's kind of how the whole thing started.
That's what was going through my head. I'm like, I could have swore he did 3 divisions. So I was thinking men's physique classic, but it wasn't. It was classic 212 and then.
Yeah, he did in 2019, he did Puerto Rico in 212s, and he did Toronto in 212s. And he got like 4th and 3rd or 2nd or something like that. And he was peeled out of his mind, but he's just too tall for that division. He's like 5'9", maybe even 5'10". Mm-hmm. And it's like, I mean, you got guys like Keon. He's just stacked.
Have you seen him yet?
Oh, he's a freak. Yeah, he's been sending me pictures every morning. We talk regularly, because my stint in Texas, I train with Keon every day. Yeah. So I've always had an awesome training partner, no matter where I've been. But there's there's training partners, there's best bros, and then there's what Brett and I have, and it's like it's a brotherhood, man. It's like a Branch Johnny. Yeah, honestly, it's even more than that. I think because I got to see Branch and Johnny and hear the stories and stuff, and they hung out outside of the gym some, but not a ton.
Yeah.
I've lived in Brett's home for months at a time. Yeah. His daughter is she Uncle Marty is every day. She's can't wait to see me. I go over 15 minutes early, so I get to spend time with her, and like they're my little family too, man. So we've built an awesome relationship, and we don't know if Florida is our final destination, but wherever we end up, we'll end up together. We definitely know that.
You like Texas or?
Yeah, I love Texas.
Keon told me too.
I love Texas.
And
I really
seems like that could become the next place.
It's
Next to here, I could see
it's
it.
awesome, man.
Because it's affordable.
Yeah, and it's just it's not just the community itself of like pros, it's everyone. Like there's so many amateurs and so many good amateurs in Texas that they have hundreds of competitors in just local amateur shows, and that's so cool to see a bodybuilding community like that. So it's just and then they really like took me in with open arms because of Branch.
Where were you training?
Metroflex, mostly.
Not very clean in there, is it?
I was just going to say, you said it's dumb.
No, it's.
I said it was.
It's grungy.
And that was a very respectful.
Well, it's grungy, man. It's
that's what you going there to train.
But
it fits you.
It did, and
it fits you. I see you. You're like that spit on the floor. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the country on a ranch, so like I fit in just right with all those country boys in there.
I see you training work boots and stuff.
Yeah, I've done it before. Yeah, I mean, it's like I looked up to you, Branch, and Ronnie. Those were the guys, and then Phil. Really, I fell in love with Phil after you guys made me fall in love with him.
Did you run into Phil when you were training at Armburst?
Quite a bit. So he was really a big motivation for me, especially as I won my pro card. Is that's when he was kind of making his comeback in 2020, and so it was right around the same time, and he would come in early. He would train at night, in the middle of the night, but he'd come in early and do his cardio at like when we trained at like 2 p.m. So we'd get to see him, and he would tell us like stories about hanging out with you,
we had a lot of history,
competing with you and training with you and all that stuff. And so it was always cool to hear those stories. And then like he kind of big brothered me early on and was like, hey, like, I know you have just a tiny umbilical hernia, but like, go get it fixed now. They can put 3 stitches in it. They don't need to put mesh in it. Go get it fixed. You train way too hard to have something like that. One of these days, it's going to get
worse.
Yep. And so he really big brothered me. So before my pro debut, I went and I got that done. And I think it was one of the best things I've done, because now I've really worked on my core. My midsection is awesome. It's tiny. I don't have any issues controlling it. And before, I didn't have issues controlling it, but my belly button would, sometimes when I would hit my ab and thigh, my belly button would come out. Sometimes when I'd hit it, it'd be in. It wasn't always the same pose. Now it's the same every single time, and I really appreciate him for kind of big brothering me in those moments.
What was it like being the aura of Phil Heath, like when he entered the building? I mean, let's talk about top physiques of all time.
Yeah.
People talk about Coleman. I always say he's the greatest. Lee Haney. You have to look at those guys with 8.
Right.
Arnold is just, we look at Arnold on a pedestal because he's a 7-time, he's migrated, and he really made bodybuilding.
Yeah.
But do you look at Phil Heath as, like, do you feel he gets the credit of, he's won 7 in a row. Look at his physique.
Yeah. In my opinion, he's probably my favorite physique, honestly.
Let's be honest, you're a shape guy.
Yep.
Do you see some similarities of your physique? Because you're never going to be the biggest.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. You're going to walk into a room, you're not going to be Andrew Jack or Samson, right?
No. Yeah.
It's absolutely. When you take the clothes off. Phil Heath was the same way. He looked so small in clothes. And then when he took his clothes off, Lee Lovato was the same. So Hunter's dad guest posed at the first competition I did.
80, right?
Listen, I was a young kid. He was the first pro I've seen at that level. And he guest posed at a show in Schenectady, New York. I'll never forget. It was like a month before the Teen Nationals in '93, which I competed with Branch.
Yeah.
So Lee was the guest poser, and I'm like, I remember meeting him, and he was in jeans and almost like a button-up shirt. And I'm like, man, very professional. Yep. Hi, how you doing? And Chris Aceto was my coach at the time, and he was there. because Laura Carvel at the time was his wife, and she was second to Miss Olympia. She was like, it was her and Linda battling all those years. So he introduced me to Lee, and, hey, Lee, this is Jay Cutler. He's a teenager guy I'm helping. And he's like, man, you're really big. And I remember thinking, even then, like, gosh, this guy's not very big for second at the Mr. Olympia. And then when I saw he took his clothes off, and I was like, oh, my goodness.
What the heck?
Even my mom was like, oh, my gosh, I never knew the guy looked like that. Because it was our first contest together, my mom. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, we went to Teen Nationals, and Porter Cottrell, which you probably don't even know who that is. He guest posed. Dave Lieberman, who's like a promoter, he was a guest poser there. But Branch was in the show. This guy, Caprice Murray, was in the show. There was so many people in that contest that were teenagers.
Should be awesome.
So, and Branch, like, I thought, there's no way this little guy is going to beat me, because I was still like 250.
Yeah, you were big,
I just
right?
wasn't cut.
Yeah.
He was already Mr. Texas at the time, and he already won the AAU America. Yeah. Like, that was when the AAU still was like NPC. Yeah. Right? So, and that was like my first experience, like condition wins. So we talk about this, and you talk about your strengths and your abilities, right? You train your ass off. What is the key to your success on the stage? Is it the condition factor? Do you feel like that can make a big difference? Because we've seen it with Hottie, Derek. Yeah. I just asked you who you're going to stand with.
Yeah.
And you named off 4 or 5 guys. Yeah. Pretty strong statement to say I want to be compared with Andrew and Samson.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Because I know my conditioning is insane, dude. I'm honestly, like, I took pictures this morning and, like, started laughing, dude. Like, I'm so excited to show this off. I've never seen myself like this before. And I'm up 4 or 5 pounds from New York.
That's what I was going to say is, the problem is, okay, what's the last showing? And people say, okay, I'm going to compare Martin with Derek from New York.
Yeah.
Where we're months later.
I'm so much.
What's the difference?
It's crazy, bro.
So,
honestly, I surprised myself in what we did in this short period of time.
Why? What do you attribute that to? How? Talk about your daily, like, is everything in sequence? Eat, sleep, train. I always talk about the boxy lifestyle, right? Yeah. This is my life.
Yeah.
And anything else, I don't want to hear it. Mm-hmm. You talk about, I go to Brett's and I'm 15 minutes before. You're talking about training like your whole life seems to be eat, sleep, train.
My day revolves around, we train at 1 or 2 in the afternoon every single day. Leading up to that moment, everything from meals to water to everything is perfect, man. Like, I know we've built this perfect environment, Brett and I have, where I have a perfect corner, I have a perfect home life, not a meal is missed, not a session is missed, and then and like we just talked about, like, having Brett there pushing me 24/7 when he's in my opinion, he's another top 5 bodybuilder in the world, or is right in the mix right there.
You think next year he has a great opportunity?
No, he's gonna. Brett, with him being where he is right now, we'll put another 5 to 7 pounds on him with a whole year to go, and he's gonna be super dangerous, man. Both of us we just got our heads down. We know what it takes. And we've done this consistently for the last 6 years, where we just kind of, shut the blinders on. And
that's the greatest success of people's in any sport, business, is you have to have the structure. How important is that? You can't have turmoil in your life. You can't have personal relationship issues, and like go back to mistakes that you have made.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was.
And you have to go through those experiences.
100%. You got to, the growing pains have to happen. And I think in bodybuilding, a lot of times that's what makes.
How old are you now?
27.
Are you the youngest guy in this contest?
I think so.
Is he the youngest? I think he is, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So 27, I landed my first second to Ronnie Coleman.
God damn. Awesome, dude.
Yeah, I was.
What was your first Olympia?
25.
25.
I was 15th, 26th, I was 8th. 27, I was second to Coleman. First time.
That's such an awesome job.
And I was right there knocking on the door, and I won at 33. It took a little while.
I mean, you fought against the best of all time, man. So
we joke about that sometimes. If Ronnie wasn't there,
how many would he win?
Yeah, I don't know if I would have.
Maybe wouldn't have had the motivation.
I wouldn't have been as motivated. I was motivated at chasing more than I was on top. I can honestly say that.
I can understand that, because right now, dude, I'm hungry.
These are the days you're going to remember.
Yeah.
Right now, because the problem is you do have expectations. You know, we've talked about this on the podcast.
More than most people.
I announce you as the dark horse, and that's no disrespect for you, because you're not positioned yet. It's your first.
100%.
And I think you shocked a lot of people because, once again, you're not going to overwhelm people with size. But you stood against Nick Walker, who we sat here on the podcast over the last year and said, if he made the Olympia last year,
might have won.
Could he have won? Right.
You're around this guy. You see him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a little dude.
Oh, Nick's huge.
And he's pretty locked in on what he does. I mean, I still have, I'm questioning, like, he lived here. He went to Jersey. He's in Florida. I just did something this morning, and they said, talk about, the sustainability.
Yeah.
You need everything aligned. And right now, it's really hard for, like, an Andrew Jack that comes over from Dubai and trains out of his element. It's difficult for Hadi Chupin, who gets out of his element. Derek Lunsford's got the ideal situation because he is just locked all year. Didn't have to compete. You guys all had to show up to get there, where he can just sit back and analyze each guy and say, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
Do you look at guys like him and say, I want to stand next to him? Or is there someone that you have, is it Hunter, who maybe isn't questionably like top 2? Or are you just saying, are you coming to win this thing? That's really the big question.
Yeah, man. Honestly, like, I think truly I have the potential to expose everyone in one way, shape, or form. So Andrew and Samson, unless they come lights out, peeled out of their mind, my conditioning's the best it's ever been, and we still have 5 or so days of just pushing me as hard as we can before we fill me back up. Like you just said, I'm not the size guy, so I don't look at the scale. I don't care if I weighed 230. I was 239 this morning, and that's like 4 or 5 pounds up from New York. And if we ended up the same weight on stage, it will be a lot more conditioned. So I'm not worried about size. I think if I can stand next to Nick, I can stand almost next to anyone as far as
You think
size
you beat him?
goes. I do.
Okay.
I do.
That's not arrogant.
No,
that's just confidence.
Yeah. My peak was so perfect.
They said that.
It was just like when I was pumping up backstage, Jay, when you just know, it was like, dude, I could see every single fiber. I was like,
were you slightly too full, or
no?
Like, I don't blurred anything.
I don't think so. I think possibly I overpumped my arms, and that's why Tyler doesn't think I have a lot of detail in my inside of my arms, is because I pumped them too hard and got them too full. And that's something that Brett and I've noticed is, like, post-arm training, my arms are huge, but they don't have
definition.
any detail.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Well, that comes with maturity, bro. I mean, you're 27 years old.
100%. 100%. And that's my weak body part. My arms and my chest have been my weak
It was my weak part, too.
And it's come up a lot, and we're in a spot where Boss is so good, man. My coach is so
They have a great record right now. We talk about this.
17 Olympians coming to this show.
What?
That's a nightmare for him.
Isn't that insane? I mean, like, it almost stresses me a little bit because he has
I need that. I need your attention.
When is he showing up?
He will be here. What's today? Wednesday.
Yeah,
he'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I was going to ask you about confidence because you were just talking about that. I've noticed you're a very, very, very confident person.
Yeah.
Has that something you've always had, or is that something that bodybuilding has helped you develop?
I think it's come more in the last couple years, but it came more from my sports background early on.
Which is what?
I played football. I wrestled from the time I was 3. So I've always had that mentality of like, you versus me, I'll win.
I'll find a way.
Yeah, I'll win. Like, I'll outwork you. And then I grew up on a ranch, so like my family's very blue collar. My dad's an oil field guy. So I always just had that like work ethic of like, even if I'm not as gifted as you, I'll work it. I'll outwork you and find a way to beat you. And I think that's why I believe in, or I have enough belief in myself.
In this.
Yeah, 100% is like, I know, especially even like when I trained with Branch, I knew like no one was training harder than me, dude. He was killing me. He was trying to murder me. It was working, but it was.
Is it too much?
It probably.
There's levels.
Yes, I think sustainability. No, I couldn't. I mean, he did just fine. Honestly,
he's still training pretty hard right now.
Dude, he trained. He would train with me, and he would do numbers and stuff that would still blow my mind. Like, I was like, "Why are you doing this? Like, you can just be here and just yell at me."
I ask Guy Sister Nino that all the time. Why?
It's like I love it, dude, and I think like that's what built Branch. So I understand. Like, sometimes you just can't turn it off. But after seeing what I've seen, training every way, like perfect J reps, going to failure, Branch style.
What's the secret? What is it?
It's honestly what works best for you and you have the most fun doing.
What is it? What is your formula?
For me, it's training as intensely as we can with perfect form. I
repetition range.
I love to push in that 8 to 12 range, and then we like to do back off sets where we do lots more reps as well.
So no pushing beyond failure kind of thing?
We do a little bit of pushing beyond failure, but it's very controlled manner where Brett and I know, like, we're in a machine that I can help him, and I would never go into those modes without him. So, like, right now, my training is dialed back about 15%, which you need to do before the show anyways. But without Brett,
travel, not your home gym. Yeah.
Without Brett, I'm not chasing those reps that I'm like, is this a maybe? No, let's call it at when I think it's the last one. Be smart, avoid injury, because longevity is the biggest thing in this sport, man. The better you are, the longer you can stay healthy. That's how you grow on this. It's a marathon.
When did you figure out you wanted to be a bodybuilder? Do you remember the moment? Because I was 12 when I looked at a magazine and said, I want to look like Chris Dickerson.
So my dad gave me the encyclopedia of bodybuilding so that I could learn.
What age?
12.
Okay.
And I wanted to lift weights because I was begging because of wrestling. All the high school boys were lifting weights, so I wanted.
I know, but you're in Wyoming. How many high school people can there be?
Not very many. So there was like, huh?
What city?
I was in Lusk. It's literally the middle of nowhere. So the town I lived in was the least populated county in the least populated state.
And do we know what's the demographic there? Like, what is it? I mean,
we had 1,500 people in our town.
And that was like
6,000. That was like the whole county because they're counting like the cows practically, honestly. So
I like towns like that. I know I love it.
It was awesome place to grow up, man. Yeah. Like we had so much backing in sports. They loved us. Like every person in town came and watched our football games.
What's going on?
Yeah. So it was a cool place to grow up, and it was awesome, man. That part was
the community. As a whole supports
100%.
Big cities are like, there's something else going on in town. I don't care if it's a high school kid.
Exactly. So it was cool, man. That was a perfect place to grow up for me.
So was there a gym, or did you get weights?
So we had just the high school gym.
And was it?
It was junk.
Nothing, right?
Yeah, no. It was like they had like a pull down machine, a leg press, and then squat racks and dumbbells. But we were MacGyvering things and doing all sorts of stuff. So I started around that 12, and I was looking at bodybuilders for advice and stuff, and that was when you were really putting out like DVDs and stuff like that. So I started watching you. And
remember the first one you saw?
One of the ones with you jumping in the pool.
Yeah, Living Large Trainer, because it's on bodybuilding.com for free.
Yep. That was the first one for sure. And then I went and bought some after I got to watch the ones for free, I think. But so right around then I was really starting to watch competitions and stuff. But before that, I was like stealing your guys' workouts and, watching a little bit of that, but I wasn't too, like, I'm going to compete yet.
You were 16 then.
Yep.
You were around 16,
Yep.
yeah.
And then right in that time, that's when I started doing 6 meals a day. I was around 14 when I started that, and then it was like really like trying to copy your guys' diets and really get into that. And I had started saying then, as soon as I'm done with college sports, I'm gonna go be a bodybuilder. I want to be a bodybuilder.
I remember in Wyoming when you came to the show, and I'm like, I told you, damn, you're impressive, man. Like, you have a future in this. And you're like, well, I'm a student. I'm going to school. And you are going to school for what? At the
pharmacy.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Pharmacy. It was actually, the first time I met you was before your show. It was out here. I was on spring break.
Okay.
And it was in City Athletic Club. And you came in the locker room, and
that's right.
I was posing.
That's right.
And you were like, man, you look awesome. And I was like, jaw on the floor, like, you're a Jay Cutler.
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, holy shit.
I don't know why that sounds familiar.
Yeah, because I walked in and then I told Dave, like, you got to do an interview with this guy.
So you were like, hey, I'm going to have Dave fly to Vegas tomorrow and do it. And I was like, actually, we're driving to L.A. tonight to go to Venice. I haven't got to see Venice Beach yet. And he was like, Dave lives there. He's going to shoot a video with you when you get there tomorrow. So I shot a video with Dave. And I don't remember much about the interview except for Dave said, hey, so Jay called me and he said, this is the best young kid I've seen since Phil Heath.
And how old were you then?
With him. I was 20.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yep.
And you know what? Now I'm going to go dig up on JTV. I'm going to go pull the interview up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so small. I'm tiny.
I know, but like I walked in, I remember as you were posing, I'm like, damn, this kid looks pretty good. And you looked young.
I was a baby.
Like, this guy's like this. And then, of course, you came to the show and you get exposed. Yep. And I'm like, damn, you were putting on the size. So I saw it from the get-go. I mean, that you had the shape.
You called it right away.
I mean, listen, honestly, you've gone past what I ever expected.
That's awesome.
I'll be honest.
That's so cool.
I wasn't sure you would ever go to... Like, people don't stay with it. It's a different era now.
It's hard, dude. Bodybuilding's hard.
Yeah.
It really is. And I had a little bit of a rough patch for sure, which is, I think, like, every bodybuilder does.
What was the roughest part for you? Relationships or financial struggles?
Relationships mostly.
I mean, and financially, it's not always...
It's tough, man.
Great.
For me, because I have the blue-collar work ethic, like, I worked construction until I could make it, until I could finally get a good sponsor. And
did you care about the money, though? Be honest.
I don't give a shit about money, dude.
We never did.
I don't give a... After I won Detroit, Fuad was like, just mess with me. And he was like, hey, man, like, we're not going to have the money for like a couple weeks. Like, hope that's okay. And I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit, dude. I got an Olympia qualification. Yeah. Like, I get to go to the Olympia. And he was like, really? That's hilarious. I was just messing with you. And I was like, yeah, dude, like, I guess like I forgot that I even won the check. Like, that's not why I do this.
When you do win it, though, and that check comes, you're like,
sick,
because like those checks, I always say, and how much did you win there?
30.
I mean,
or it was like 27.
I know, but listen,
cushion.
No, it was awesome.
That's kind of life changing for someone in your position, because I know everyone always looks at me as like, oh, Jay, financially was always.
Yeah.
It was times I moved to California, and like I had put a lot of stuff on credit, and I bought a house, and like you build up what they call debt.
Yeah,
and I remember going in 2000 and winning the Night of Champions. I bought my first house with I got $15,000 then. And then I went to the Olympia and I got 8th or whatever, and I got, I think, like $14,000. And then I went on the European tour and I collected 10, for second place at Irani. And all of a sudden I came home and I got $35,000. And I'm like, I remember I had one credit card bill and it was $14,000. And I said to my wife, I said, here, pay the credit card off, $14,000. And I was free. And I've never, ever, ever had debt like that since.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of the same thing for me, like after Detroit. That's why I honestly, I think even got so much better. So I got 17, I think, at New York. And I got better between Detroit and New York because I didn't have any stress. I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck, but it's like I wasn't have this crazy cushion. Now I'm like, okay, I can have everything I need. If I wanted to eat whole food chicken, I could do it if I want to,
It changes the game.
Yeah, and then going into this Olympia now, I've had that same feeling of just like no stress. And I haven't even had a sponsor until just now.
Yeah, Hostile.
I was
big shout out to Hostile.
I was literally going to say, you're talking about the Detroit Pro. That's Fouad's show. Congratulations,
yeah.
Fouad.
Thank you.
How did this come about?
Yeah.
Pacific West Injury Law. Injured? Call 602-HURT. Car accident? Call 602-HURT. Our firm is dedicated to you and your recovery.
And honestly, it goes so far back, it's crazy. So 2020, Fouad and I were talking before I even went pro. He just started the company, and I was going to be the first guy he brought on. And we couldn't get it to line up. He wasn't in a spot ready to quite sign an athlete yet, and HD was ready to be able to pay me, and I was in that spot where it was like,
you need the money.
I need the money.
Yeah.
I want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to work 70 hours of construction a week to make it happen. So if somebody's going to give me money, I'm going to take it at this point. So I went with HD, and we've kind of just rode paths like this the whole time beside each other. He signed Brett for a while. So he's always been around and involved. And after Detroit, we had some talks, but I wasn't sold on anything. I was kind of like, hey, let me just feel this out. Just let me build my social media for a while. We've really put a lot of focus on my YouTube and my social media. And I said, let me just see what I can do and build as my own brand first and see what kind of value I can bring you before we do something. And, he watched everything. He said, man, the views you're getting, the things you're doing on social media, no other open bodybuilder is really doing. And you're getting to the point of close to Regan as far as an open guy and doing YouTube. So you're pushing it. You're doing a great job. I would love to get involved with you. And the brand fits me so well, man. It's built on hardcore bodybuilding. It's built on passion and just loving this for what it is. And like you said, not caring about the money and stuff, just bodybuilding. I love this sport so much. It gave me everything. Without it, I have no clue what I would do. This is a
pharmacist. You're at CVS.
Yeah, probably, I guess, working at Walgreens.
How far are you away from that dream?
I was about 2 years of school left. One was some school, and then the last bit would have been internships and stuff like that. And honestly, it just wasn't for me.
You didn't like it?
No. It was once I started doing clinical stuff and getting to work in a pharmacy, I was like...
I waited 10 minutes for a script class. I was so pissed off because I had to go. Angie heard her flow, and I'm waiting. I'm already put the credit card and stuff up to shoot, and I'm like,
yeah,
hell is going on?
No,
I go to the drive-thru at midnight because it's the only time that there's not a line of cars there and all that.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, man. I was just I'm gonna look at the clock every day and just be ready to go home.
How do you feel about the stigma that bodybuilding, you can't make money?
Oh, I think that they've lost their minds, especially now in the era that we're in.
Of course, yeah.
I mean,
you can control a lot of your destiny now.
Yeah, and the thing is, man, is people are mad at these influencers, they're making all this money and they're stealing it from the bodybuilders. No, you just have they put in a lot of effort. If you don't want to run the tripod and stuff like them, then you have to pay somebody to do it.
You're an influencer, whether you like it or not. Yeah. You are a bodybuilder, but you have to be a crossbreed of
bodybuilders. In my opinion, they're the most influential sport in the world.
100%.
Because you go to watch NBA because you want to see a dunk. You go see fights because you want to see someone get punched. You go to a bodybuilder because they're going to give you information that can change your life.
100%.
Can change your marriage, can change your health, can change your work. Right. So you might not realize it, but you have people that are not just watching you, they're listening to everything you say, and they're trying to they don't want to be on the Olympia stage, right. But if they can feel a little better, you can help change someone's life.
I think fitness sector, if you look at social media, let's take the example of Instagram. Mm-hmm. I think fitness has the biggest following of any sector, whether basketball, baseball, entertainment. I think so too. I think that if you look at across the board of how many persons have over 1 million followers, fitness, worldwide. Yeah. That's the thing. Some of these entertainment things or professional sports, especially here. I mean, I guess soccer is different, or
right, yeah,
football,
yeah,
right. But we have the biggest following of anything, and it's a worldwide audience. Look at all the athletes competing. I mean, we got Rafael coming from Brazil. He's like one of the most famous. I mean, you have I mean,
when you start traveling around the world, you
realize
He'll go, this dude's got 25 million people, and I have never heard of him.
Yeah,
because where they're from.
Yep.
And especially like in the Middle East,
their
bodybuilders are like our Tom Brady's. They are A-list celebrities.
Yeah. That's so cool.
So you got to start traveling around the world more.
It's definitely those are bucket list things. I've got to do a few. I've been to Dubai. I got to go to Sweden. I've been to London. I did.
You're doing the gas thing.
We were UK. So I've done some of those things.
There when you did the UK,
but now it's just like I'm like, let's do it. As soon as Olympia is over, I want to travel.
Was your pro debut Texas?
Yes. 21.
Yeah.
I got fourth.
I sat next to Branch and I remembered he pointed you out. And I think I said that to you. I was like, there's a guy up here. I didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I said, yeah, I know him from.
He's going to move up. Because you could see it. You weren't ready yet, but you could see. Could see the canvas. It just needed to be.
Yeah, I prepped myself. I look like shit, honestly. I hated my look for that show. That's why I did Legion after, and I had you look at me like a week out, and you were like, "This is so much better." And
it was at Dragons.
Yep,
right?
it was at Dragons.
That was when. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, 20.
So would you come down here before you?
Yeah, I stayed here for like a week before I went to Reno. It was just to acclimate to the climate and stuff. I always took your advice on that. I think that's it. I think you got to get there at least 4 or 5 days before.
Oh, I was here a week out, but you were already on this side. You weren't going to go all the way back.
I'm not going back to Florida to turn around and come back in 5 days or something. So, and I love it out here.
So what are you trying to do as you're here now? Just film content. You're training at a couple different gyms.
Yep.
They've been pretty welcoming to you.
Everybody's been awesome, man. We've only been to Torture right now, but they've been super great to us. And I know that like Flex will take care of me when we go over there. And everybody's been awesome.
The chaos is going to start, though. You got to watch where you train because it's
now it's
going to get
it's got to be strategic.
You might have to train in the middle of the night, like I used to do.
I might have to. We were just.
I got some spots you can go after.
We were talking about, that was something that Phil kind of was always talked about us, and it was something that Brett and I were just talking about how we never paid that much attention to it. But now it's something that we really have to think about is he would say, like, I started transitioning my training to about the time when prejudging would be. So my body.
Do we know when it is?
We haven't the past few years. So I
want to rant.
I talked a little bit about this today, and I said I refuse to go on Friday night. I won't be at your prejudging because I refuse. It's so disrespectful. If they told you guys you're going to be on at 9,
and they put us on it,
yes,
put you on at 9.
They should start with the men's. They really should start with the men's. Yes,
if they want to see the best bodybuilders, they need to do that.
So bodybuilding show. It's not a
show. And I mean the thing is like all due respect to the other divisions, we love them, but like if you want to see the best peaked open guys,
it's called the Mr. Olympia,
and the coolest, craziest physiques. You got to tell us when we're going to be on because we're timing it down to 10 minutes.
15 minutes.
You got a 20-minute window of looking perfect.
Does the Super Bowl start at a specific time, or do they have to have some sort of?
I told Jay if I were running the Olympia, your prejudge would be Saturday at the Expo. If it were me, where you got 30,000 people screaming for all of you guys right at the Expo.
Wouldn't be bad peaking at noon, right?
Exactly at noon.
That's when I train every day. So I would love it.
I'm thinking more for the athlete side of things.
Yeah.
Just walking out and seeing a sea of people just screaming.
There's nothing cooler. But my best experience, and I know the Olympia is going to be cooler, so I can't wait to walk out on that stage. But walking out on the Arnold UK, they went nuts because I was shredded, and they loved that, So it was like, I remember when I turned around, as soon as I hit my rear double, like, people were screaming like, "Look at his glutes" and stuff. Like it was so cool.
I went to the back.
Those were so much fun to. Yeah. So I can't wait to walk out to that look out at that Olympia crowd and see one that big because that'll be the biggest one for sure. So that'll be cool. But I love the stage. Did you love it?
No, I hated it. I love the training.
So I love the training first. That's what I fell in love with, and that's why I'm a bodybuilder. I like Brett and I just love.
Who puked in the parking lot? I saw the other day on the video.
Oh, that was somebody else.
Yeah, okay.
But that was our last leg.
Yeah,
So it's funny. Both of us are like dead, and then Brett was like, "You see, not as bad as those guys."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask something different. I've noticed lately you guys have been training with Chris sometimes.
Yeah.
How did that happen, and how motivating is that to train with one of the guys that's on the top of his
Greatest. Yeah. No.
Is he gonna win or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Urs is one of my best friends on the whole planet, bro. But he's not ready. He's not ready yet. Not yet. Chris is just
Next level.
and he's improved again.
Confidence.
No, it's
Stage presence.
Just being around him. You can see he told me, he said, dude, I still wasn't confident that I was gonna win on the third one.
What was his best?
Now I'm starting to get.
I think 2 years ago, in my opinion. Not last year's, the one before.
Did they say what
that
his best was?
his third one.
Third.
That was his third
or
one.
fourth.
There was one he was really, really.
I think that was the first one Honey did. So that would have been his fourth.
No, I think it was the year before. Maybe.
Yeah,
You're right.
Fourth. It would have been the fourth.
He looked just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Side chest, I thought was the best side chest in the whole.
That would make sense. So the fourth, when he went with Hani, was the first time he felt like I'm for
sure. The difference between having a confident coach and, I mean, you're boasting it right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's bosses.
How did that happen where you started training? Is that like a regular thing or just once in a while with you and Brett training?
So honestly, Chris started sneaking away from Raw and coming over to Revive because everybody's been
at Raw.
Yeah, at Raw. And he likes he has his own personal gym. Yeah. Right. But Hani was like, hey, you don't have AC in there. Body's getting a little ran down. I want you to train in some AC and just make sure that we're recovering and stuff. So Chris came over to Revive one day and was training legs when we were training legs. And it was like, hey, bro, like, if you want to push, you don't have to train alone. You can come anytime you want. Come jump in with the boys. We just love training. We're not, anyone can jump in as long as you can hang. But it's, we're just there to have fun, and we love training. Like, it's so much fun to just kick each other's butt. So we were like, Chris, if you want to hop in, hop in. So I told Brett, I said, put us in a group chat, send him our split, and don't give him an option. Tell him, like, when are you going to hop in with us? So then he was like, all right, I'll do back with you this day. So that's where we ended up training with him and doing back. And it was super cool, man. Like, the advice he gives is just like you, just always willing to, like, talk about it and how he felt and what to soak in and what moments to take in and stuff.
A lot of it's emotions, you have to have. You always say bodybuilding's not necessarily physical all the time. Yeah, there is a huge physical part, but it's the mindset. And it's like walking on stage. Too many people are like, I want to get top 6.
Yeah,
and I'm like, fuck that. Like, you want to get like, what are you doing?
Why are you here? I come from way too athletic of a background to like. I'm like, I'm very
6 is the 5th loser.
Yeah. I'm very, very Phil. Like, I want to kill everybody's dreams. I don't. No. The only person that can beat me and I'll ever be okay with it is Brett. And that's because I know he worked.
I said that about Phil. He
worked just as hard as I did. Like, I know that every day he trained in the gym with me and I kicked his butt. And I guess I kicked his butt a little more than he kicked my butt. That's why he beat me. Like, that's the only one I'm actually okay.
Who trains harder, you or Brett?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Come on, man. You have all the other answers.
I would say, I would say this. We have our body parts. Like, hey, he can press a house.
Okay. Is Nick Walker hiding from you guys in this journey?
He's all in the trains in the same place.
Are you guys train at the same time? I mean,
sometimes.
Okay. And is there like eyes across the gym? Like, what are these guys doing?
There's not like an animosity.
I wouldn't like training around my competition, to be honest.
For me, I love it. But I'm like...
Do you think you train a little harder when Nick's in the gym?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it. It gets me a little fired up.
Yeah, of course, it should. I mean...
Especially because, like, he's got 1 up on me. He's actually got 2 up on me. He beat me already the overall of when we won our pro cards, too.
He did?
He beat me in the overall.
Oh, nice.
So it's like...
So you're going to settle the score?
What's the North Americans or... What? North Americans, yeah.
Are you going to settle the score here next weekend?
Yeah. I am.
That's the confidence.
Yes, I am. No, I'm very, like, I'm so excited for this look. Like I said, I don't know where I'll land in that top 5, but I'm going to be in that mix. I really believe that.
Is he going to be in the top 5?
We just said he's coming to win. It's fuck this top 5.
Should.
Yeah. He wants a comparison with how, it's great to see it's how you compare.
Yeah.
And I thought my first one, I was going to stand with Ronnie, and dude, I got last call out, and I was fucking devastated, you know? And I remember sitting in the room after with Chris Aceto and my ex-wife, and like, okay. And Chris said to her, is he just not good? Am I not seeing this? And she's like, I don't get it. I felt like I was overlooked with 16 guys in the show. And 6 months later, I went to the Night of Champions and won my first pro show, beat Paul Dillette, who was a top 10 guy. Yeah. So, like, my confidence it was just a short time where I doubted myself. And that was first year here in Vegas, Mandalay Bay. Like, I remember flying out from Massachusetts, and, I was making money at the time that I could finance myself, but I'm like, starting to second guess, is this what I should have done? The year prior, I got an offer to go into WWE wrestling at the time from Shane McMahon, and the only thing that held me back from doing that is they wanted me to pay the $5,000 to go to wrestling school, and I said, I don't want to pay the $5,000 and then risk that I'm going to get injured when I'm already like a sponsored Weider athlete. And thank goodness I didn't. I mean, because I had a wildly successful career, and I think wrestling could it have gone. I mean, look at Cena, right? I felt,
sure. You definitely have the charisma for that.
I mean, he was from my area. He grew up probably 30 minutes from me. And if you listen to Ed Connors recently, I listened to an interview, and he said he looked at me as one of his inspirational characters.
Yeah,
because he wanted to bodybuild.
Yeah. No, he was a good bodybuilder.
Yeah, he was.
Early on, he looked good.
He was great.
I've seen some pictures of it. Yeah,
so we all have our direction that we go, and people that inspire us. And I'm sure you're going to look around at the field and look at these guys and say, he inspires me in this way and that way. And
so the one moment I knew I'm going to step on stage for sure was I went and watched Phil guest pose.
Where?
2016 in Wyoming. It was October, so it was like
right after.
Dude, it was like 3 weeks after the Olympia. He was up probably maybe only 10
Were you there?
pounds.
Were you living there then?
He was
15.
Just peeled out of his mind still, but looked like he took a bicycle pump that every muscle just... He looked so insane. I looked at my best friend at the time, and I was like, I'm going to do a show.
There is some pictures of Phil. There was the most muscular where it looks Photoshopped, and it's not.
It's real.
It looks cartoon. I've seen it in person. I'd watch him come into the gym and be flat
and train
and do 5 reps, and all of a sudden you're like, what what just happened? You just turned into a balloon animal all of a sudden.
I remember, this is a random Phil story. He went and did a speaking engagement, and he had to guest post 3 weeks later in Kuwait, and he was only like 240 because he didn't train for months, just let his body heal. And I remembered he was changing his shirt, and I'm thinking, you have to guest post in 3 weeks. You look like shit.
Yeah.
He was small.
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
3 weeks later, he was 280 and just like
craziest.
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
That's so crazy. I'm not gifted like that. That's crazy.
If you can compare your physique, and I hate to ask this because I know you're your own person, but is there anyone that you say I'm most similar to?
Phil is one of them that I feel like my
bubbly
is really close to. Yeah, because of the combination that Phil had of he's bubbly, but he had so many striations and stuff. Where it's usually kind of one or the other, right? You know, it's like Phil had that crazy combination, and I feel like I kind of have that.
A lot of tie-ins, like Phil had to.
I was going to say a bigger version of Sean Ray.
Yeah, I could see that as well. Yeah,
Sean Ray was,
dude,
great.
I know people have their like. He was on, he came on our podcast, but when I was coming up and I started reading the books in 92, 93, Sean was unbelievable.
Yeah. Still,
physique-wise.
His posing routines are some of my favorite I've ever seen, for sure. Him, my favorite physiques that I wanted to look like is Flex Wheeler, Phil Heath
Combination.
and Sean Roden, somewhere in there. And then I've always just wanted that branch conditioning because I just thought that. And I saw it one time in person. It was like, that is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
That's hard training, and that's hard dieting, and just
suffering, just earning it.
What was the biggest obstacle in your nutrition pattern? Is it eating the food? Is that become, because you have to be bigger. You said you're eating 6 meals now?
I'm on 7.
Okay.
Yeah. That's definitely the hardest for me is the off season, just pushing food. I'm a guy like you that had to eat 1,000 carbs and crazy amounts of food, and that's definitely the hardest.
Are you eating a lot of food right now? Surprisingly,
yeah,
because you train hard.
Yeah, decent. And I haven't done one step of cardio.
That's it.
None.
No, I remember you said that.
Just train.
So you're one of these. I mean, even your coach. I mean, doesn't that? Everyone's just zoned in on this. You have to do cardio in order to get in shape. What's the reason?
I will say I do. I've always been gifted. I've never had to do a lot of cardio, even when I've had to do cardio, maybe like.
Do you ever feel like, oh shit, maybe I should be doing some when you see all your peers? You ever think that, or you just totally trust your coach?
I trust it, and I know that I think it can take away from training. Whereas I can just put
it's counterproductive.
Everything into my training.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say for you, when you train that hard, it's cardio while you're training.
Right. And that, like, I would even say, like, kind of like you, they call it junk volume, if you will. It's like you did, like, an extra set of 20. But I'd rather do an extra set of 20 than walk on a treadmill. I'm not going to lie to you.
I can honestly tell you, if I never got in my head that I needed to do cardio based on people's opinions, Chris Aceto never would. My best looks 2001, no Olympia. 2002 Arnold, no cardio at all, right? So that was,
and those were some of your best looks you ever had. Yeah.
Round, full, hard enough.
You're not beating the body up so bad that it's. I think it can be counterproductive. I do think you got to do something, and if you're not training super hard, you need to do it for your heart.
Yes.
At least. But we're training, Brett and I are trying to kill each other. So we're getting the heart rate up and getting it controlled. My heart rate comes down in 30 seconds. I feel...
So the intensity you talk about is key to
we're going straight back into... He goes, I go. He goes, I go. We're not.
I tell everyone, it's 45 seconds.
If you can, you got to get after it. It's fun. So, and I think, like I said, is like when we go in there, we're going in there to kick each other's butt, but we're also just having a blast. It's like if you have fun training, then why not do an extra set and burn calories that way? Then get on the Stairmaster.
What's your lucky number that you're going to draw for the Olympia? You think?
I'd hope
Branch. I thought Branch was always number 1 or something. He seemed to draw number 1 a lot.
Really?
Well, when you're Mr. Olympia, you always get the last number.
Okay.
There's going to be 16 guys. Did we think about?
Right?
16. Unless we can get Brett a special invite.
I'd love to have a 13.
Come on, Jay. Start put it out there.
13?
Put a video out.
Yeah.
13. Yeah.
When's he showing up? When's Brett coming?
He'll be here Tuesday.
Is he doing your tan or?
Yeah, he better.
Okay. You got the roller ready?
That's right. We'll go to Home Depot.
So no spray tans.
No. So the Pro Tan girls will take over on Wednesday. But
you're gonna get a base. Because you're a pretty white dude.
I'm spoiled too. They treat me good because I was a Texas boy and I know them all like personally. So they'll roll.
You're a pretty white dude, though.
Oh, I'm the whitest. Yeah, I'm like translucent.
You tan it all for the show?
No, and honestly, we've thought about it before. It
helps. I feel like
it's 50-50. Brett tanned, and I do think it helps
when it lays on. Yeah,
especially for him, it keeps his skin clean too. Like it makes it so he has no acne, nothing like that. I don't have any issues with that. My skin is like perfect, except for it's just translucent, but I just hate tanning. It's such a pain in the
Part of the job, man.
I know, it really is.
You're going to be one of those guest posers that's totally white. You're never going to put on tan.
No, I always put it on. No, because you look terrible if
I know
the white face and the tan body.
No,
well, I don't even. I will do it with my face too, because I hate it, bro.
So we're gonna see you guest posing at Man In Show next year as like one of the top guys. Let's go, right?
Yeah, damn right.
Intention, guys.
Yeah. No, I'm excited.
There's levels to all this, you know.
I'm excited for it.
What else do we want to add? But we're not going to keep you in forever.
I just want you to just shout out whoever you any plugs, any sponsors, anything,
sure.
Just people to help you. Give them their shine.
Yeah, no. So my team, man, I couldn't be more thankful for everybody in my corner, from Brett, Alexis, my significant other, my training partner. You know, Brett's done everything for me, and we've pushed each other to the max. My guys are back over here behind the camera
filming. He's got a whole film crew there.
They're who gets everybody the content that they want to see, and get to show the light of who I am, and really get to show my personality to the world. So without them, you know, you guys wouldn't get to see me. So I really appreciate them. And then Hostile, Mint 45, and Uprising, they've been unbelievable to me this year. And then now I'm working with a company called Helamix, and we're about to take over the blender bottle game. So it's going to be really cool to be a part of that, and the next steps that we have for that. So it'd be fun.
So these guys will be releasing this content. What is this, the YouTube? Shout out your YouTube channel.
Yeah. So my YouTube's Martin The Martian Fitzwater. And we'll start daily vlogs in like 2 days. But we'll be turning out content almost every single day for the next couple weeks. So
he's got a serious question.
I have a serious question, the most serious one. Where did the Martian name come from?
So this is funny, actually. So Brett and I training every day in Denver. I've always kind of had a theme of like, I would wear Real Muscle shirts from Joe
Reiser
on leg day, like Serial Killers or whatever he had, the horror film shirts.
Did you wear the Jay Cutler?
Those,
the legend
the
one.
Jay one. The Jay versus the Michael Myers one. I have all of them, you know. So that was kind of a start with it, and then I had all these. Walmart makes the best.
Yeah, they do.
They make the best 4X and 3X T-shirts,
and they feel good. The material is nice,
and they're one of the only places that sell 3X just on the shelf. You know, you can't go in like a Foot Locker and buy a Nike shirt. It's a 2X. Like you're not getting big boy shirts. So I would go to Walmart and I would look through and I'd be like, I love cartoons. I'm a child. I'm just a big kid. So I watch cartoons every morning. So I would get like the Scooby-Doo ones and the Looney Tune ones and all that stuff. So I had a bunch of these, just cartoon shirts, and I would wear one every day for training. And I had one that was Marvin the Martian, and it was a mugshot. He's like a mugshot, like he got arrested. And Brett was like, Martin the Martian.
That's why you were calling him Marvin.
Yeah, no, I said so. I said Marvin. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, no, yeah. So that's what it was. So that was the original. Was Marvin the Martian, and he was like, dude, that's fitting, and because I don't ever have to do cardio and stuff, he was like,
you're out of this
you
world.
You kind of are alien, dude. Yeah. Like you kind of just you're weird. Like you get to do different stuff. So he was like, and I was like, I'm gonna run with it. So I had somebody draw up a Marvin the Martian, but he was jacked doing a front double, pulling a vacuum. And I loved it. I was like,
is that for sale on like a website?
Yeah, I have it on my website, my T-shirts.
What's your website? Shout out the website.
What did we buy the domain? MartinTheMartian.com. So we
Martin the Martian. So
just text me everything. I'll put
for sure. So we'll put the link down below or whatever. But yeah, so I have that. Then I have my Olympia T-shirts now and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what stuck. It just, I don't know. It's just kind of funny. It's kind of like Brett with the Butcher is like.
He sent me his Butcher, the bomb. I promoted for him. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah,
that stuff's awesome.
Yeah.
I
just shouted him a few weeks ago with it, actually.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was kind of the same thing with him. It was like he'd be like, "Hey, you should come over for steaks," and he was always cutting up meat and stuff when I'd come over. So I'm like, "Man, you're just always cutting stuff up," and then he gets really shredded. So I was like, hey, it's kind of like run with that, like Brett the Butcher, and he was like. Dude, I actually really like it. And so it's
Guy Sistanino's going to be disappointed because he's an actual butcher, isn't he?
Yeah.
He was a butcher.
Yeah, he was. He actually has the certifications and all of it. He went to school for it, for real. Yeah.
So when are we going to see the Hostile Martin pre-workout stack?
Well, after I get top 5 in the world.
Okay, so big Chuck Fuad, you hear this?
So we expect this coming out in when?
Couple months, right? That's the plan, man. No, we're excited for the future for sure. He's been very, very involved in being a part of this, being a part of the Olympia. I've been sending him pictures, and he's like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe this. And then
he's jealous that you don't do cardio.
And then, he's like, as soon as you're done, man, like, if you're ready, let's do some traveling, let's do some trips, let's do, like, my dad has a Harley, and now he's.
Are you doing the podcast also?
Yeah, I've been hopping on there as much as I can and stuff, which is cool too. That's fun to just.
Those are all good guys.
I love chopping up body.
I got Paul's shirt. They sent me a Paul shirt. I actually took
always a little right.
The picture, I think, right here.
I'm always a little right for what I love that. So.
Yeah,
no, they're good dudes, man. So it's fun to chop it up with them, and it's just I love bodybuilding. So anytime I get the opportunity to talk about it, it just makes me glow, man. This has been so fun. Like, I mean, you've been seeing it since I was a kid, dude. But I just love.
Well, I'm cheering you on. I have a lot of guys I cheer for, but I'd love to see you get in there and kind of break through and have a great experience because my first Olympia wasn't so great. Yeah. So I applaud anyone that stands on there. And
who's the best debut? Was it Phil?
Phil, dude, he got. I mean, honestly,
third, right?
Yeah, and honestly,
actually, Derek.
Yeah,
Derek. Second.
Yeah, Derek.
But he was already a 2
with a special.
But Phil Heath, arguably could have won his first.
Was that 08, right?
08.
He
got third.
One.
And I mean, they gave me second. I mean, Phil was just not as big then.
Won.
He could have won.
Yeah, no,
he really could have won. It was his first time, and then of course.
He got
09, he got 5th, and that, I'll tell you, 6 weeks out, he was unbelievable. And then obviously 2010 he could have won. I won then, and then 11. 11 was his most best of all. That was the best. If Phil Heath never changed from that position, he would have. I don't think he could have been beat because he was so aesthetic.
13.
He was starting to get bigger, but it was a one call out show. But he was better. I think he was better in 11
really?
with it
more polished.
Yes. He was more aesthetic.
I would love to have seen.
We all got too big. The reason he lost is because he was pushed to get bigger, which caused his midsection. And I tell you, do not make that mistake. If I can give you any advice, your frame is going to cap out. Yes. And I would tell Hadi and I would tell Derek the same. Your structure is limited on what you can, like, I blew my frame out. Yeah. Ronnie Coleman blew his frame out. Phil Heath blew his out. Dexter was the only smart one.
Dorian even, honestly, if he wouldn't have torn the tricep and stuff, he probably would have really blown.
But Sean Roden never, he obviously won one, and unfortunately he's not with us any longer. But I mean, Rami got bigger than he needed to be, or tried to make it that way. Brandon Curry, I feel like he's at that borderline. Yeah. He's a big question mark for the show.
I'm going to go back to Sean Ray.
But, he got criticized heavily in the books because he looks the same. Dexter he looks the same. But you know what? Look at the track record. Yeah. Dexter is one of the greatest of all time. Yeah. I think we disrespectfully
51 wins.
It doesn't matter. He's a 4-time Arnold champ. Yeah. Mr. Olympia.
9 Arnolds international.
Okay.
9.
Yeah, that's insane.
He won every show. Masters Olympia, regular.
Every show. So debut. I mean, if that's the goal, just get up there, man, show your best, have fun with it, take in the experience. You're going to be one of the few guys probably smiling backstage. Yeah. I'll see you backstage Saturday night. I look forward to seeing it, man, and let's get it on, dude.
I can't wait.
Right? Thanks for coming on. We'll have you on again,
Thanks for having me, brother, anytime.
Good, man. Thank you.